So the next part I'm going to be talking about with wakeboarding is a risk assessment. So with wakeboarding, you will be flying in the air, you'll be jumping up a lot. So you could go into the air, come down really hard onto the water and land on your head and become unconscious. So the participant is the people at risk here, and the controls in place is that you need to make sure the participant is wearing a helmet. So if they hit their head, then it won't affect them too much and they won't become unconscious. The severity of this is 2, as they're becoming unconscious and really hurting themselves. But the probability is 2 as well, because it's quite likely. So the overall risk rating is 4. So other comments is that you need to make sure that before every time someone goes out in the water that they're wearing a helmet, so that it reduces the risk of them going unconscious. Another hazard is that they could land on the water at a wrong angle and break their ankle or legs. This is again similar with snowboarding. Their feet are fixed onto the board. So if anything goes wrong, then it will be really difficult for them to get their feet away. So it will probably likely lead to a broken ankle. So the people at risk are the participants. So the controls in place, you need to make sure that participants know how to properly land if they do a jump in the air, so that it reduces the risk of them breaking a bone, because they know how to land and it will stop them hurting themselves. So the risk rating, the severity is 3 and the probability is 1, so the overall rating is 3. So you need to make sure that everyone knows how to land after doing a jump, so that it reduces the risk of them breaking their ankle. Another hazard is colliding with the boat. So this is the boat driver. This is when they're on the ocean, not just when they're on the ocean with a boat. So this is the participant, and the boat driver will be the people at risk. So the controls in place. You need to make sure that there is a big enough gap in between the boat and the participant, so that it will be really unlikely for the participant to get anywhere near the boat. So the risk rating, the severity is 2 and the probability is 1, so the overall rating is 2, because it would be highly unlikely for this to happen, but if it did, it could be quite severe. So you need to make sure that the rope between the boat and participant is long enough so that there is no chance of either colliding. And the final one is falling under the water after landing a jump and possibly becoming unconscious or drowning. So the people at risk is the participant. So you need to make sure the participant is wearing a life jacket, so that if they do go under the water, then it will help them float, so that there is less chance of them drowning. So the severity here is 3 and the probability is 1. The probability is only 1 because it's highly unlikely that it will happen, but if it does happen, it could result in death. So the severity is really high. So you need to make sure that all participants have a life jacket on, so that it reduces the risk of them drowning. So the PPE here is that they need to wear a helmet, they need to have proper wakeboarding boots so that it helps them grip the wakeboard, and they need to be wearing a wetsuit so that they don't get too cold in the water, and so that they're totally protected from any falling. So here, if you're out in the ocean just with you and the person driving the boat, then they can help rescue you if you do fall under the water. They can perform first aid on you if they know it. Also, you can call for help. Call for a rescue team if you need to, if you're on your own with only one other person. So those are the risk factors. And the environmental factors is if you're with a boat, then on the ocean, then you can cause harm to the wildlife in the ocean, and all the wildlife in the ocean. Also, if you're with the boat, then it can cause pollution because it'll be a petrol-powered boat, so it can cause pollution to the environment. And also, it'll be quite noisy, so the birds and the wildlife can get disturbed from the noise of the boat. And so, on to my last part that I'm going to talk about, and it is sailing. So, sailing is a form of transport. You can get around on boats, and you can either do one person or a whole group of people, and it's very there are petrol-powered sailboats and wind-powered sailboats. So I'm going to talk about a risk assessment now. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is the participants falling out of the boat and possibly coming unconscious or drowning. So you need to make sure that all participants are securely in the boat so that there is less risk of them falling out. So the severity isn't too high, and the probability isn't that high because not many people fall out of the boat. So you just need to make sure that there is a guide watching and telling them stay in the boat, and making sure that they're all in the boat and that there is no chance of them falling out of the boat. Another hazard is that they could get hit by the boom and become unconscious. So here, the participants are the people at risk, and the controls in place are you need to have some a foam padding across the boom, so that if it did hit the participant, then it wouldn't hurt them so much. So the risk rating here is the severity is 3 and the probability is 1, because it's not too likely to happen. However, if it does happen, then they could become unconscious. So the overall rating is 3. So you need to make sure that before every day starts, you need to check all the booms and make sure that they have the foam padding on, so that if the participant does get hit, then it won't hurt them. And the final hazard here is the boat capsizing, and participants could be trapped under the water, under the boat. So the people at risk here are the participants. So the controls in place that you need to teach the participants how to properly maneuver a boat, so that in a way that won't let the boat capsize. So the severity could be 3 because they could get trapped on the boat and really hurt themselves. And the probability is only 1 because it's not very likely to happen. So you need to make sure that all participants know how to turn the boat properly, so that they do it in a way that won't flip the boat. So with the PPE with sailing, you need to be wearing a life jacket so that if you do fall in the water, you can still float and you won't drown. You need to be wearing a helmet so that if you do get hit by the boom, then it'll reduce the risk of any injuries. And you need to be wearing a wetsuit to properly protect you. So with sailing, if you're on your own and the boat capsizes, then you can call for help, or you can send out a distress signal. But if you're with other people, then you could possibly get someone to rescue you from the water, or first aid, anything like that really. So the environmental factors are, if you're on a engine-powered boat, then it can cause pollution. Or if you're causing harm to the environment, you can cause harm to the environment because you'll be going along the water, and that could affect the wildlife in the water. So that is everything for 19.2. Thank you for listening.